Why are you so good looking, Al? Questions. And why did you even hang out with Steve, Al? Questions. Anything like that.
Did you even hang out with John, Paul? Question.
We don't have a John Paul.
We all wish our mind was as fast as Steve. I used to think I was funny. I really did.
Okay. Just glad I was able to demonstrate that. Okay, so here's how this works. You put your hand in the air. You put your hand in the air. Don't care. And then we'll call on you and you can ask a question and then we may answer. Good night, everybody. Are there any questions?
You're too late.
Okay, that's a really good question. He asked, is this your laptop? And Paul said yes. So we're good, thank you. Okay, Kason, we've actually planted Kason, in case nobody asks questions. So.
How much did you practice and what did you do with music when you were in
Okay, next question, please. Actually, okay, I'll be honest. I do suffer from ADHD, and I find that it's actually an amazing tool in life to be creative, but it also makes sitting down and practicing while watching paint peel on your wall very difficult. That's why I play 15 million instruments, because I can't focus long enough to practice for too long. So I actually need to take several breaks while practicing, and then I also have to switch instruments while practicing sometimes. And for me, when I played soccer for 8 years, I love soccer. Any soccer players here? Soccer, awesome. So I played soccer for 8 years, and my favorite soccer time, of course, was game time. Scrimmage, when you scrimmage, right? Well, we need a little bit more scrimmage in street play, I think, personally. It's like where you get in front of people and you're playing, and you're working towards playing. And so you spend a lot of time just playing. And that is what I did when I grew up. I was in a string quartet, several orchestras, and I would perform any chance I could get. It doesn't matter where it was or who it was to or what music I was playing. And I loved exploring new genre. So that's my advice is yes, practice is super important, but don't forget game time. You've got to have more game time. Even if it means practicing a little less and playing a little more. John is a champion practicer. In fact, we have this theory that he has this magnetism in his body when he was born, kind of like Wolverine, except for his is not cool, like Wolverine. But I mean, it's cool if you're a pianist, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, so
none of us are cool. We've accepted it. So
yes, exactly.
Except for Al.
So yeah, exactly. So Wolverine had the things that shot out of his fingers. What John had is he was born with piano magnets in his body. So anytime he enters a room, he goes, and he hits that piano, and he immediately starts practicing. So you tell him the secret to your incessant, amazing practicing ability. Because it really, I seriously admire it.
I don't know. It's sort of like marathon running. I don't know. It's usually fun unless you're working on something new and you have to get it for a deadline, then it's not fun. Then you go hours and hours into the night. And, I don't know. All I can say is you build up an immunity, sort of like building up an immunity to iocane powder.
Indigenous to Australia. Yeah. There was lots of criminals there. I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me. Inconceivable. Okay. All right. Speaking of inconceivable, next question. Yes. John, you answer this question. You're the best.
It kind of depends on if you've got a video that you're trying to put out and you need to learn a song in 3 days. Then you're kind of often practicing around the clock, or if you have a concert. But at the very least, I need to be doing my finger exercises, for a half hour, at least every other day. Otherwise, I start to not be able to play my tunes, and that's a real downer. So yeah, you got to keep those fingers strong. But I don't know if that's similar to stringed instruments. If you need to keep fingers strong for that as well, do you?
Don't look at me. I don't know. Paul, how do you practice videography?
Very little these days. No, we're doing a video every month now, but no, one of the things I think I've heard John say, and I think it applies to anything, is John will say, do something and get obsessed with it. And I think that has to do with anything. If you want to get good at something, you get obsessed, where it's like you can't think about anything else. And I think that's the motto of the piano guys, is when we want to do something, we are obsessed and we do not stop until it's done. So there was one time where we were filming and we literally were up 3 days in a row. Not a minute's worth of sleep. Well, maybe John, he can sleep anywhere, but
He's selectively narcoleptic.
yeah, he can. But it's just a constant obsession, and we did like 3 videos in 3 days. And it kind of helped us get started on YouTube. That was in our beginnings. So.
Yes. Yes, I was there. Yeah, I was number 8. Yeah. No, I wish I was on the field. That's awesome. I was in the audience. Where were you? Were you up where I was? That was a good game. That was a really good game. We'll let a little cat out of the bag though. We actually are in talks with Rio Tinto to use that stadium for one of our videos. And they'll let us play during the halftime. So we want to start out in an empty stadium. And I would love to do like a Queen medley. Like We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions. A great tunes, you know what I mean? And of course, we love doing things that are totally out of the ordinary. So here's a piano and a cello playing We Will Rock You in the middle of a soccer stadium. Like, where do we come up with these weird ideas?
Maybe we should try it on a piccolo.
We should totally
rock you on a piccolo.
Every time we go to the airport with my 16 cellos, John's like, wish we would have been the piccolo guys. Yes. Oh yes, we have to throw in some Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, cool. Yes.
I was about 11 when I wrote a song for the Reflections contest, but it was the lamest song in history.
You gotta tell us the name.
Is
that a different one?
Yeah, it's a different one. It was Twinkle Little Star with a couple of notes changed. It was basically what it was. A little left hand star, little left hand thrown in. But my first song that I was really proud of was when I was 13. And I also entered that into the Reflections contest and called it Purple Morning.
Which is like when you wake up after getting beat up the night before.
Dumbest title in history. What's that? Oh, you don't want to waste time in hearing some of my early tunes, I promise.
We'll save those for Saturday's concert. Yeah. Yes. Okay, good question. No. Because, I'll explain why. First of all, I have these really cute dwarfs that live in my home called children, and I prefer to live for them. That's the number one reason. Number two is they actually wouldn't let me, because the guy that actually was my stunt dude had 6,000 jumps under his belt, and he was still shaking when he was going out, because tying a cello to you, which has never been attempted before as far as we know, forces your body to actually turn upside down while you're skydiving, which will throw you into a spin and put you in a blackout. So, isn't that exciting? So this is funny, he actually rigged a golf ball that was tied to a string that was his emergency release valve. So if he started spinning, he would pull that cord, which he did, he would pull that cord and Jackie would be bye-bye and would take the shortcut down. So he actually started spinning out of control. Just if you watch the video, me and my cello, you'll see him start to shake right before we cut, because we didn't want to show the death-defying stuff. But and then he throws a drag, and he was able to maintain his balance. But it was pretty scary. So I've only jumped once, and it was with some guy attached to me. So they wouldn't let me go. So that's the explanation.
But for the film, you had to jump out of the plane
right,
wearing the cello. So I think you could say you jumped from a plane.
That's true. While I was on the ground, I skydived. 3 feet to the ground. It was insane. It was like, Next question.
That is a good one.
That's a question for Al.
The question was, if we weren't going to be named the Piano Guys, what would we be called? He thinks the Al Guys. I like that. I don't know. Paul should answer that. He's the one who named the channel.
Well, I thought of the Piano Guys, so I just think it should stay there.
I think we've got to a point where we've been together, 2 years? Piano Guys is kind of just synonymous now with just good music, hopefully. I don't think people think Piano Guys, they just think of a piano. I think that they've come to expect what we feel like we do best, taking classical music, which is, we all grew up on classical music besides Paul. He's a convert, right? He didn't even know what a cello was before he met Steve. So, right. So I think it's been pretty incredible that we've been able to, take from these awesome composers classical music and just mash it up with the pop music of today, inviting the younger generations, the older generations, everyone. We don't exclude anybody with the music that we do. So I think Piano Guys is a cool name. To me, now it just means music, something that you can feel inside your soul when you listen to it.
Al adds amazing vocals. All of the vocals you hear are Al, so it really could be the piano and cello vocal guys. Kick drum track.
Oh, I was going to say, one of the funny things that happened to me, I was doing a little speaking seminar at a college, and this lady who's over all the marketing came up to me and she's like, wow, this is so incredible. The unique way you thought of marketing the Piano Guys is having a cellist in the group. Okay. And she said, this is so incredible. When people watch these cello videos and it's called the Piano Guys, it gets people thinking about it, and they think about it twice and they're like, what's going on here? And I just wanted to go, yeah, sure, I thought of all that, yeah. Yeah, but it all happened. It didn't happen like that, but it is kind of fun and interesting how things happen with the Piano Guys. We can talk about it all day long, that miracles happen every day. We thank God for everything that has happened, because without Him, and we pray a lot for inspiration and guidance, and I think that He's involved in a lot of the stuff that we do, and so all credit goes to Him with everything.
And I remember when motivation with our music is really to positively motivate people with music, because it's such a great tool to do that. So the spirit of music, we hope, is always in what we do. And I want to tell you a story. This seems like such a small thing, but you think about what can snowball from something like this. How many of you were in our Beethoven's 5 Secrets video? Awesome. Well, it was a song like that sparked the following story. A girl emailed us after a concert. She was 16 years old. She is 16 years old. She emailed saying, my dad and I have had a really difficult relationship. We haven't been able to talk. We just couldn't find common ground. We fight a lot. And I convinced him to go to one of your concerts. And so they came together to the show, and they found common ground in the feeling that they had when they listened to this music, especially Beethoven's 5 Secrets, which is you that played it. And she told us in this email that after that concert, they talked the whole way home, and they all of a sudden built this great relationship as father-daughter. And just something so small, the spirit in music can cause a small change in a relationship or in somebody's life, and we believe that miracles are started and snowballed by music. And it's because of you and your contribution to Beethoven's 5 Secrets that there is somewhere, we don't know who it is, but somewhere a girl and her dad are now best friends because they started on this road together. And that is the stuff that motivates us, is stories like that. And kudos to all of you, especially for helping us with that amazing tune that found common ground between this family.